I love great conversations. Hi, my name is Angel Jones. Thank you for joining me on 12-Minute Convos, where I help you create a brand of your own unique, real self. Listen in as I have conversations with amazing people from all over the world. Good night, Aaron, Lindsey. How are you going on this wonderful, beautiful night?
Oh, it's fantastic. I've just actually came in from walking my dog, and it's beautiful where I am too.
That's great to hear. What part of the world are you in right now?
I'm in a little town north of Nashville, Tennessee. It's called White House, Tennessee.
All right. Well, I do love Nashville. I do love Tennessee. I do. Did I say I love Tennessee? Because I love Tennessee.
So that makes two of us.
Yeah. Franklin. Like, I have really good friends in Franklin. Amazing place.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Well, Aaron, please do tell us which of your talents is responsible for us connecting at this time.
Well, my full-time job is podcast producer.
Wow.
But I also co-host a couple of shows. But I'd say my favorite thing to do is actually get in there and edit and produce podcasts.
All right. Well, podcast family, podcaster family. That's how we roll on this show, right?
Yes, sir. That's right.
It's a great pleasure to connect with you, Aaron, have you on as a featured podcaster. Tell us the name of your podcast, please.
Well, I co-host two different shows. One of them is called Weird, and it's a show where my co-host and I just cover the strange news stories of the week. And we have a lot of fun doing that. We published 2 episodes a week. We release every Monday and every Friday, and it's a lot of fun. My other project is called Wisecracks Radio Hour, and it's kind of a tribute to Mystery Science Theater 3000, where we play classic radio shows and we just make jokes over the top of them. It's a blast.
Yeah, it sounds like fun. Well, you definitely have one thread of personality coming through there, which is the fun part, right?
That's true. Yeah, I do like to have fun.
I got to listen to Weird. I didn't get around to listening to Wisecracks, but I'm really excited to, given the fact that I spent probably about 30 minutes, I think, listening to Weird because I was stuck on it, if you would. Wow. The fun.
Thank you. We do love doing that. We've been doing Weird for over a year, and it's as fun today as it's actually more fun today than when we started. It just keeps, I don't know, we just keep having a blast with it.
Yeah, I love the sound effects that you guys put on. I love the gel that you both have gelled in that, it's a natural. It's amazing. Yeah. It's amazing audience. Definitely check out Weird the podcast. So who did you learn these skills from for doing what you're doing via the podcast?
Well, I was in radio. I'm 50 years old, and I got into radio in the 1980s. I was a morning guy for about 4 years and really loved it. I really had a blast. I loved being behind the microphone, just talking. But then life came along. I got married and had kids and had to get a real job, as they say. And my buddy, Craig, who is the co-host of Weird with me, he and I were having a conversation one day, and someone said, you guys need to be on the radio. And he used to be on a radio station as well. And so we just both put our skills together and created Weird.
Yeah, Weird is good. Did you ever read that book, Weird, by, as you said, Craig there, by Craig Underhill? Have you ever heard of that? No?
Certainly. He's my pastor.
Are you serious?
I sure am. I go to Life Church Hendersonville campus.
Yeah, I read that book a couple of years back, but yeah, I remember the blue. It's blue, isn't it? Yeah, I remember the blue.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, and Weird just being in there. Weird because something isn't in or something like that is but definitely great book. Well, isn't that something? Wow.
Isn't that funny?
It is funny, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, do tell us, please, why you will continue to repeat these skills of there was the time you did it, then there was the out season with the family life, and now you're back in it. Why will you continue?
I'll tell you this, there's 2 reasons. We got into it for the fun of it, and it was kind of a hobby. And it still really is, because we don't make any money off of it, but we like doing it so much that we're just going to keep doing it. And now, since we've been at it for a little over a year, we've got an audience that's that they're very connecting. So they reach out to us, they send us stories. So we've made a lot of friendships, and I'd like to see that just continue to grow. That's for me is the funnest part, is getting messages and notes from our listening audience.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, I could see that happening though. There's so many things that happen on the podcast that I want to speak of, but I think it'll be letting the the cat out of the bag, if you would. So I'll definitely say, amazing audience, definitely check that out. Where's the best place for them to connect with everything you do, Aaron?
They can locate us at our website is weirdnewspodcast.com, and from there they can pretty much link with us on Facebook and Twitter and iTunes or Google. We've got all of our links on that one site.
Wonderful. What is one other thing that you've done consistently over the last 3 years?
Read. I've read a lot over the last 3 years.
How does that make you feel?
It makes me feel really good. There's nothing to me more motivational than getting my hands on a good book and sitting down and reading.
Yeah.
And Weird, the fact that you mentioned Weird, I read that right when it was published.
Wow.
And it was real. Yeah, they kind of had a stack of those on hand at church one Sunday when I went in. So I got one of those and just devoured it. It's an easy read. I'm reading a book now called Reinvent Yourself, which is very motivational. And it's, it talks about just kind of every so often picking up a new habit, new skills, changing the way you do things, seeing things in a different perspective. So I read a lot of books like that.
Yeah. Have you ever read Traveler's Gift?
I don't think I have.
Oh, yeah. So there we go.
I'll add it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll add that to my list.
That's my recommendation to you. The Traveler's Gift. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So why would you suggest someone do what you've done actually by so you're having fun on one side, and at the same time you're putting in, if you will, you're filling the cup as much as you're emptying it, right, by sharing. Yeah. Why would you suggest someone do that?
It's such a release. It is so refreshing, for one thing, to just get out there and speak. And, podcasting is really inexpensive. If you wanted to start a podcast, you could do it. If you've got a computer, you don't need anything else really. You can, or even with a cell phone, there's a fella here in Nashville that has a podcast, and he records 5 minutes a day on his cell phone on his way to the office. And then he uploads that every day. That's all he does. He just uses his phone, and he's got a pretty good following too.
Yeah, so it's really a low entry,
yes.
Very low entry level. Yeah.
And you could go, if you get into it, Craig and I, when we first started, we had a couple of blue snowball microphones, just the basic stuff. And then when we realized we were going to continue, then we invested in a little more quality studio equipment. But you could start out for nothing, and it's just a way to talk to the world.
Yeah, I think it's, as well as I'll add as well, it's a way, like I had this young lady on just a couple episodes, Kiara, and she spoke about it's helped her develop herself as well. I think even with you mentioning reinvent yourself, I think the book, it actually helps you fine-tune your words, if you would, but your thinking as well goes in alignment with that. So it's really a great tool to hear yourself, right? And it's like it's like three ways you're hearing yourself. You're hearing yourself through the headset, one, and then you're hearing the responses that the individual is giving based on what you said, and then you get to hear the recorded version, right? So it's really a grand opportunity. Yeah. And if you listen to Aaron, you'll definitely hear the funny side of what is possible. Again, it's really amazing, really amazing stuff. Well, Aaron, let's switch gears for a moment now, and let me invite you into my time machine that is surrounded with beautiful, warm blue Caribbean water. Aaron, What is your earliest childhood memory?
Wow. Believe it or not, I told you I was 50 years old. I still have a memory of when I was 3 years old when my family moved from one town to another. I remember moving day at 3 years old. And I remember certain parts of it. I remember sitting on a counter eating a bowl of cereal. I remember running around a garage that was empty that I had never seen empty before.
Why do you think this memory is so clear?
You know what? That's a good question. I remember a couple of the folks that were helping us, some good friends and family that were there. I think it was just my first memory of something really exciting happening, but it's burned in there strong.
Well, can I offer an interpretation to the thought picture you created in my mind?
Sure.
I love the idea of how you see things. I think and I got the advantage, if you would, to listen to the podcast, right? And not just to pull on straws here, but the fact of the matter remains that it's really intriguing how you see things, because even with the news that you're reporting, right, you're giving your perception on things. And to see you as a child, one, sitting on the counter, eating and being aware of what's going on, and then in action as well, running around the garage that is empty, if you would. It's just amazing how you are perceiving things, but it carries a different meaning, if you would, to you at the point in time. Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. If we fast forward to when you were 12 years old, what was your favorite song?
12 years old. Oh my goodness. My favorite song at 12, trying to do the math here.
Sure.
I would have to say Roll With the Changes by REO Speedwagon.
Wow. Isn't it amazing how it connects, though? It's like it's the thing you've done, right? You've rolled with the changes.
Exactly.
Wow. All right, my friend.
That's still a favorite song. That song has stuck with me through the years. And it's like you said, it's a great song to go along with Reinvent Yourself, too. I mean, you just roll with the changes.
Yeah. Wow. All right, my friend. Well, we've arrived at our destination, but before we get off of this time machine, there's a small declaration form. So it's yes or no, possibly a bit more. We're going to move pretty quickly here. Are you ready, Aaron?
I'm ready.
Aaron, have you chosen someone to pass on your skills to?
Yes.
Are you married?
Yes, I am.
Do you have children?
Yes, I do.
Do you believe in God?
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
Do you have an inner circle of friends?
I do. Yes, sir.
Do you watch TV for more than 3 hours a day?
Unfortunately, yes, I do.
Oh, sounds good. And what about screen time, the phone and or the computer? Is it more than 8 or less than 8 hours a day?
It's less than 8 hours a day.
Right. Well, Aaron, after 1,001 conversations in 3 months, I came up with a workbook, the name of it being called Yours. It stands for Your Own Unique Real Self. And the idea is, after reflective self-discovery questions, that you uncover your mission, which I like to call your own unique real statement. If you, Aaron, had to share with us your own unique real statement, a statement that represents Aaron Lindsey, what would you say that is?
Leave every person better than when you met them.
Love it. Aaron Lindsey, this was a great pleasure. Before you leave, is there anything else you'd like to share with our amazing audience?
First of all, I'd just like to thank you. This has been a great, fun interview. I've done, 3 or 4 interviews since we started Weird. This one, to me, has been the most thought-provoking and the most valuable, I think, for listeners. And I'm thrilled to be a part of it. I think what you're doing is fantastic.
Hey, thanks a lot, my friend. That definitely goes far. Thank you very much. And what you're doing is amazing as well. Folks, again, check out Weird. Aaron Lindsey, thank you for being on What is Inspired by 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones.
Thanks, man.
Thank you for being on 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones. Stay tuned for more from our advertisers.
Diabetes is a mountain pandemic. It's a disease that's not acute, but chronic. Similar to this rhyming method, I have simplified the definition, the signs and symptoms, and the complications of diabetes for both adults and children in my books, Poems for Patients, A Focus on Diabetes, and The ABCs of Diabetes for Children. These books are available on Amazon.com, and for more information, you can visit my website, poemsbyaj.com. That's poemsbyaj.com.